All right, so after the track video, I got a ton of questions on the what is the build on this car. So I made a little list that I'm gonna go through this with you guys and just kind of do like a build breakdown of what all is in this car. Okay, because I got a ton of questions, so I thought, you know what, let me make a video so it's easier than answering tons of questions. Let me pop the hood here. Okay, so pretty much the backstory on this car is it was originally a 4-cylinder car, and I got the car itself for $2,700. It's really clean, no rust, none of that. So it's just your basic 93 coupe. The paint is not great, it's fading. I mean, in pictures it looks really good, but up close it could definitely use a paint job. But it's just your basic 4-cylinder 93 coupe with roll-up windows and manual locks. So nothing fancy, basically stripped down, nothing fancy about it. So okay, so as far as the engine build goes, like I said, going back when I bought it, the idea, I didn't know what I wanted to put in it, basically. So at the time, I picked up this Explorer short block, or a long block I should say, because it had the heads and the intake, the throttle body and all that. I picked this motor up for 400 bucks. Okay, so yeah, the long block was $400. It had the P heads in it and all that. So I pretty much just stuck it on an engine stand and it sat for 4 years. So I got the crazy idea right after I bought that, you know, of putting a JZ in this thing. So that's what I did. I put a 1J in here and pretty much did all the other stuff to it, you know, did the brakes, the wheels, and everything. And we ran the 1J in this car for probably 2 years. And at that point, I built the black car. Oh, by the way, I'm in my other garage. I'm obviously not in my shop right now. This is my house. But anyway, so when I built the black car, the JZ went into the black car because I wanted to make it more of a race type deal and put a cage and all that. So I had this engine sitting on a stand and I'm like, you know what, let's throw it in here and yeah, we'll see what we can do and turn it back into a V8, you know, 5-speed car. So the engine was in decent shape. I did like a really basic hone. I did rings, cam bearings, main bearings, and rod bearings. So if you take the car was $2,700. The long block was 400. I don't know how to kind of put in the price of the 95 parts car I bought. I paid $2 grand for that and it had a ton of good parts in it. So it had a lot of suspension stuff that I wanted. And that was basically, I put that on here too. All the Eibach Pro dampers, Eibach springs, all that, the sway bar, all that's on this car. I also have the BBK short shifter came out of that car. The adjustable quadrant came out of that car. The rear end came out of that car. What else? The 5-lug, these 5-lug spindles came out of that car. Just a bunch of stuff. I got the H-pipe out of it, which the H-pipe really doesn't fit from a 95 to a 93. It's a little wide. I had to kind of beat it in a little bit over here to get it to go along the cross member. So yeah, so what we did was we did a basic little rebuild, you know, nothing fancy. I'm gonna try to put some like cards in the video. I don't normally do this, but it'll kind of like, if you want to go back and look at, you know, when I did the heads, like the valve job on the heads or whatever, I'll try to put some cards up. But yeah, I did a basic little valve job on the heads and did the trick flow spring upgrade, which was 185 bucks. The rings, the bearings, the freeze plugs, and all the gaskets, I put like 250 for that. I'm using an Anderson N41 cam. The Anderson N41 cam was pretty expensive, 385 for that. The N41 cam is supposed to work pretty decent with P heads, and it does. I mean, it does work pretty good. It revs really nice up to around 6,000, 6,200. We are running stock rockers, okay? Stock rocker arms. I had to get different push rods because the Anderson cam required a little bit more preload than a stock cam. So I wasn't getting enough preload. So what I did was I bought longer push rods, and then I shimmed the rocker stands. So basically put the rocker stands up a little higher, a longer push rod, and then I was able to get more preload on the lifter itself. And it's working perfect. So we did that. What else? So I put 150 bucks for the push rods. I got the MSD ignition. I got that off Facebook, which is right there. I paid 175 bucks for that used. What else? I got a clutch for 160 bucks. It was just a basic, I think it's a Zoom clutch. So it's like basically like a Cobra clutch, just a stock clutch, and a regular iron flywheel, not aluminum. So the flywheel was like $120, and the clutch was 160. MSD was 175. I had to buy a timing cover because the timing cover from the 95s are a little different, and a water pump. So that was $175 for that. What else? I mean, that's pretty much. Oh, and headers. I found a set of Mac shorty headers at the flea market for $25. That was a steal. So, and it is true, the headers do have a hard time fitting on P heads. Most all of them do. I had to like kind of ream the bolt holes out to get them to line up right, and it is a pain to change the spark plugs. So just keep that in mind when you're messing with P heads. The other thing is we had to buy these spark plug wires. I custom made them myself. I just bought a kit so that I can buy these 90-degree boots. Okay, so these are Taylor 8mm wires, and I just made my own 90-degree boots, and it works really good. None of them have melted, and I know that's one of the major issues with P heads is your spark plug wire is melting. Okay, so it's got a Rock Auto, really cheap, like $45 distributor. And one of the most expensive things was the carb, which was a little over 500 bucks. It's a Holley 600 CFM double pumper. Let me go ahead and take this off and we'll take a look at it. Like I said, it's just a basic 600 CFM Holley double pumper with a mechanical choke and a mechanical secondary. That's pretty much basically it. And the only thing I had to do to it, other than doing the tuning and the idle setup and all that, was I leaned out the primary. I think it was 2 numbers, and then leaned out the secondary 1 number, and that got me right in where I needed to be, where full throttle is like right around 13-to-1. So it came out. That's how I had to set this up. But anyway, moving on from there. Oh, and I used the throttle cable off the 95 as well. Okay, this is right off the 95 Mustang. I made my own little bracket here. It's kind of rusty, I need to paint that. But made my own little bracket and a little brass fitting here that I can adjust the cable, and then added a return spring. So make sure you always do that, add a return spring. And here's the intake. This is the part number, M-9424F302. So I got that, I just looked that up on Summit actually. That was like $195, I think. No, $220. So it was 220 bucks. It's a dual plane intake, not a single plane. And its rev range is like between up to like 6,000, 6,200. So it kind of matched really well with the N41 cam. That's the rev range of that cam as well. So yeah, and then I don't know if I already mentioned it, but water pump timing cover, the trick flow regulator. This regulator here, this was a little expensive. I think this was $180, I think. And what this does is this converts EFI pressure down to carb pressure. So basically it converts from, it's a bypass regulator, and you get your high pressure coming in, and it distributes and returns, and you can regulate it down to like 6 psi. So I run around 5.5 psi of constant pressure to the carb. So that's a necessity unless you want to change pumps and do like a sump in your tank and all that. You're gonna need to get a regulator like this. So that worked out really good. What else? I got the power steering pump out of the Junkyard. I think I made a video on that. And the valve covers, these valve covers were like $100. Okay, so these are Summit Racing valve covers. They're cast aluminum. And so far so good. I'm really happy with them. I just had to drill some holes for breathers, and then I bought these 2 breathers. What else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, so yeah, I consider that a budget build. I mean, there's no pistons, no rods, it's a stock crank, pretty simple build. I did already have the alternator, so I didn't include that. I fabricated my own little bracket for it, and this pulley here is off the 95 as well, but this is obviously where the air conditioning is going to go, so this will be changed eventually once I get that going. This car has heat. You come out of the water pump here, and then that goes into your heater core here, and then I return it back to the top of the intake right here. Okay, and it's kind of some weird fittings and cable routing and all that, but it works. It works really well. And yeah, in the winter I get nice hot heat in the car. So we're at summertime right now, so it's time to do the AC. But anyway, the only other thing I wanted to show you guys was what it looks like as far as putting a 95 bell housing and 5-speed in a Fox body. So pretty much what happens is it moves the shifter back about 2 inches. Okay, so right now the shifter, it looks like it's in 3rd gear, but it's actually in neutral. Okay, so 3rd gear would be down into there, and you can see how close it is to the back of here. It almost touches this plastic cover. Okay, so it does set the whole thing back a little bit, so that would be 3rd gear right there, and you can see how much space there is. So I've gotten used to it, and I kind of like it because it moves the shifter closer to me. Okay, so you know how like back in the day people used to punch their radio going into 3rd gear. Well, you can see on mine, 3rd gear is here. Look how far away I am from the radio. I mean, I'm like 8 inches from the radio. So I don't mind it. I kind of like it. I wasn't sure if it would work, but I went ahead and just threw it in here to see if it would work. And yeah, so far I'm happy with it. And the drive shaft from the 95 also fits in here. So that bolted right in. Everything went together just like it is. Other than the transmission being a little notchy in 3rd gear, which, that 3rd gear, probably the sinkers are starting to go on it. And then other little things like the tack and all that, like that's not stuff you need to buy in order to make this, setup work. But I wanted to buy it because I like the shift light, and I kind of was going for an old school look in this car. So yeah, and I used the Flowmasters off of the 95, and I have a video on that too where I cut the tailpipes off and added 4-inch turn downs, and then made my own little brackets to hang the tailpipes and or to hang the mufflers. And yeah, and these are UPR control arms. It's they're street series, uppers and lowers, and this is the sway bar off of the 95. That's the I don't know what kit it's called, but it's like their handling kit from Ibach. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, so that's pretty much the build breakdown. I mean, you can go ahead and rewind the video and write down all the prices of what I was quoting here and what everything cost. And I mean, like I said, it is pretty much to me a budget build, especially compared to what I'm doing with the other car. But anyway, what I want to do is since I took this to the track and had a lot of fun with it, you know, my mind, the wheels start spinning in my mind. So I'm going to take you guys down to my shop, which is just down the at the other end of my property. And I want to kind of go over with you a possible plan I have for this car. We might be making some changes to it. I don't know. Because I had a lot of fun with it, and it was something that I would like to take back to the track and maybe try to improve on my times and all that. So let's go down to my building and we'll kind of go over what we got going on down there and maybe what we could possibly do in the future. Okay, so we're back at the shop, and now you guys have an idea of what it costs on my, what I consider to be budget, a budget build. So let's go through maybe what the future plans are for this car, possibly. I'm not 100% sure. It's just been something that's been going in my head a little bit. And so let me just explain it. Okay, so this is right here, over in this area. This is the 302 out of the 95 Mustang. Okay, so the one that's in the white car now is actually the Junkyard Explorer motor, obviously. This I haven't even touched. This is just a plain old short block, out of a 95 Mustang. Stock crank, stock rods, everything. Okay, so, and I have a set of E7 heads right here, here, and over here, somewhere over here, I have the shorty headers that go with it. Okay, so what I'm thinking is we go ahead and rebuild this. I already have everything I need to rebuild it. I have new rings, I have new bearings, I have cam bearings, I have freeze plugs. What I did was when I rebuilt the Explorer motor, I went ahead and just bought 2 sets of everything because I knew I had another engine to rebuild, and somewhere down the road I may rebuild it. So I just went ahead and put on order 2 of everything. So like I said, we have the cam bearings, main bearings. These are the rings, and I believe these might be the rod. No, maybe these are the rod and these are the, either way. And here's the freeze plugs, whole set of those. So what I'm thinking is rebuild this short block. Okay, keep it stock, keep it stock rods, stock pistons, and all that. And just go ahead and do a basic rebuild like I did on the last one, and do my basic valve job, which I put a card in there, which I showed you on the other when we were at the house. And just do basic stuff. Put the trick flow springs in it, lap the valves, leave them stock. Don't even port them or anything, okay? And then, since on this car, this turbo here is not gonna work for this 2J that we're building, okay? This 2J is gonna need a bigger turbo, so I've already been kind of looking over some bigger, like an S400 Borg-Warner turbo, something that's going to make 1200 horsepower or capable of making 1200 horsepower. I'm not saying that's where I'm going with this. Most likely 1,000 is going to be where we're going to be limited on this because of the rods and main caps. It's got stock main caps, but a lot of people do make 1,000 horsepower on stock main caps, but I'm getting a little off topic here. So this is a 64 millimeter Borg-Warner, okay? This is good to 750, 800 horsepower, okay? And it's actually in perfect condition. Like, I've only drag raced with it. I don't really drive it on the street, so there's not a lot of miles on it. So I'm thinking of taking this, gapping the rings for, for boost, put the stock heads on it, and I don't know what cam, just maybe a stock HO cam. I have a stock HO cam right here. That's from the 95. Where is that? Somewhere. I have it somewhere in all these parts. Okay, so we'll put a stock HO cam in it. So it'll be just basically stock. Okay, and we'll throw that turbo on it. I'll take the shorty headers I have. I don't know why I can't find this stuff right now, but I have tons of stuff, and I do have the shorty headers. We'll take the shorty headers, we'll flip them, cut the flanges off, and just fabricate a little turbo kit. Really simple, you know? And I have tons of stuff I can use, okay? We have, I still have all of the intercooler piping. I still have, you know, all the stuff a lot of the stuff I would need. What else? I have another intercooler up there that would fit, or I could use this one and then get a different intercooler for this. There's just a lot of options. So I don't know, I think that would be kind of fun. And I could, in my head, I know this is probably not true, but in my head, I feel like I could get away with it pretty cheap. But you know how that goes. It never happens that way. You end up getting nickel and dime to death. But I think it would be a cool project. And, you know, you can make 500 horsepower on stock heads, stock blocks, stock everything. And we'll just gap the rings for boost, you know, and take it to the track, have some fun with it, and daily drive it too, you know, because it'd be having, you know, basically stock stuff. So, but anyway, that's the somewhat plan, but like I said, that's going to be down the road because we've got to get this thing going. I've been gathering lots of parts. I just got this throttle body in, this AccuFab. This is an 80 millimeter throttle body. Basically, the opening is 4 inches, so that's going to be, that throttle body is huge compared to what I was using. So we got that. What else? Got 2200 cc injectors. Okay, these are just straight Bosch 2200 cc injectors. They're not from, you know, Injector Clinic or ID or anything like that. I sold the other set of ID injectors, and I actually sold those for more than I paid for these. These were a pretty good price, but you know, I'm not going to go into that right now. I don't want to do a video telling you what all this costs and what that costs. We'll do that another time, but I've just been gathering parts. We have an electric water pump since, you know, we're not running a water pump over here. So we got to come off of this to do an electric pump, various fittings. And yeah, we still got to make the manifold. So there's still a lot of work to do here. We've got a set of BC cam gears. Those are pretty cool looking. Adjustable, we can adjust them. BC cam bolts, new cam seals. So yeah, everything's coming along. It's just slow right now getting parts. But anyway, I just wanted to go over the that car and what it cost because I got so many questions. So hope you all learned something and enjoyed the video. And that's going to do it for this one. I'll check you guys next time.